All right. Well, hilariously, Kanye West is always in the media sphere, and I think that it goes without saying that he's just an absolute fucking edgelord who thinks that he's so smart. But he did make a completely stupid idea of trying to make his new uh, image all about as edgy as possibly could with this whole Yahtzee thing he's gotten. And although Kanye West seems to be a kind of can't fail, maybe that's what he's trying to prove, that he just there's nothing that he can do wrong. There's no idea that people won't flock to. I mean, he's probably is right because people are so stupid that they get the absolute idea that somehow they he you know people just are follow whatever idiot into the crowd. So his Hitler obsession and Nazism is cringe to say the absolute least, and that's kind of what he's done here with this whole thing. Is that he kind of seems to be wanting to make this his big thing. It's like, why? Now he had that huge meltdown on Twitter a while back, and it was interesting to say the least to view. His Heil Hitler and his obsession with Hitler is seemingly stupid, and he's thinking he's a Nazi. Well, would you look at that? Let's look at like the actual hits. What do you think that Kanye West, if you were to have a time machine, go back in time and uh, you know, how do you think that Hitler would treat Kanye West? So I mean, there is history of this because there was during the time of World War II, there was a very small group of black people in Nazi Germany, and although they didn't actually get rid of them in the same way they did Jews, they were certainly not a they were certainly not a welcome, and there's no world that Nazis would be accepting of Kanye West. There's no way that that does. And then yeah, I mean the thing that he did was the Rhineland bastards. Yeah, they basically were he did Hitler didn't have the same hate for them the same way he hated Jews, but he certainly thought of them as kind of below, not even worthy of attention, and the people were heavily prosecuted for who they were. Discrimination in employment, welfare, and housing. They were banned for pursuing higher education, and they were socially isolated and forbidden for having relationships with Aryans by racial laws. So I mean, if you had a mud shark in Nazi Germany, they were almost guaranteed to be some massive, horrible repercussions for such an event. So I mean, the whole thing is so stupid, and like, what can you expect from Kanye West? I mean, he's just such a tool, realistically speaking. Uh, it's almost like he's trying to prove a point by doing this. The well-known anti-Semitic rapper. Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's just taking something and throwing it into a sort of sphere of what he thinks is that. He's just trying to be edgy, and he doesn't know any of the real history. And maybe he fell out with Trump. Maybe he did some stupid things, but he definitely was, you have this whole sphere of people now who are, they are most certainly they have no idea the evil committed back then by these people. So they have no relation to associating themselves with these type of people. They're just completely and utterly trying to be Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean that is yeah, like I mean they were sterilizing black people. Kanye West is trying to associate himself with these people. Like, they would never want to even talk to him or deal with him, or they were considered to be an inferior race, along with Romanian people, and they were under a very it was not a great place for them. And if you were able to transport Kanye West now back into a time and have Hitler memes, there would not be friendliness towards them. He wouldn't be like, "Oh, thank you for making a song about me." It would be horrible. So, I mean, I don't know what Kanye West's problem is. He's clearly messed in the head. I mean, he came out with this album and he's got this whole thing going on. He's got a cousin. He's got this weird thing with his. The dude is a mental case, all right. Kanye West is lost his fucking mind, and he is just trying to be as edgy as possible. And the sad part is that if you're famous enough, people with mental illnesses can be propped up to a position where they're actually allowed to function on this functionality. So platforms are pulling it down. X is allowed. It's allowed on X. Yeah, of course. So I mean, it's a rally call to people who are just clearly not at all have any idea about history. It's like he's trying to associate himself with people who would absolutely hate his guts and think of he's subhuman and sterilize him from ever reproducing. So I mean, what does that tell you about Kanye West? I mean, he's a fool. He's Kanye West is a complete and utter fool. And these streaming platforms, you have to realize that there's some places in the world that have strict laws against this shit. You are not allowed to associate yourself with Nazism. You are not allowed to do these kinds of things. And maybe he's just trying to push to be edgy and controversial. Obviously, that's what he's doing. He's just a refrain from playing it. Oops. Of course, this is all allowed on X. And the Jewish people rightfully should take a lot of offense to this. I mean, this is a person who is trying to prop up someone who did awful things towards their community in the past, unspeakably awful things. And how much of a tool do you have to be to try and associate yourself with people who are pure evil and just eradicated members of your own kind from existence and forbid the kind of things. Now, this I would imagine that this Wikipedia page and these types of things are very sterilized of what reality was. I would imagine the reality is much harsher. I imagine they would have been in the chambers as well. This was an inferior race theory that the Nazis held, and they would have definitely, like it said, yeah, the conversation. These people were just on the same chopping block as many other groups. Um, and it just so happened that there wasn't a huge amount of them. I mean, we're talking back 1940s, 1930s. There was people there from all over the country in Germany, but these people were not a major problem, so to speak, for Hitler. And the fact that yeah, I mean, these people their whole thing is racism. That's their whole shtick. The entirety of Nazis. So to associate themselves with this type of thing, it's hilarious. Um, and really, yeah, I mean, look at this. I'm like prisoned, if detention camps in other countries. They were they were enslaving these people in other countries, let alone in their own. So yeah, complex racist logic of Nazism and fascism took vivid form. Muslims were under the boot, so to speak, and the fact that Kanye West even thinks of himself as associating with these people, maybe that's his whole thing, is he's trying to erase or defeat it somehow, or just being an edgy idiot. We don't know. It's like, what the fuck, Kanye West? Like, I mean, and human rights organizations are probably saying these are people who associate themselves with things that they really have no power over, and he's not going to be able to defeat racism by making a Heil Hitler song and trying to be a Nazi. It's just a weird stunt, and Kanye West is clearly a fucking deranged human being, and he needs help before he does something wrong. Because we all know what's coming next with Kanye West is he's going to do something. It's going to be a Diddy R. Kelly situation altogether. Maybe he's going to lash out at a fan and hurt someone, but he's not right in the head, and this just proves it.